Hello you guys, it's Katie and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing small and easy crochet products that are great for beginners. So if you guys like me and my channel, make sure you subscribe down below and turn on the post notification bell. That way you know every time I upload a new video. Also, there will be a blog post that is shared the same day as this video is, and it will be linked in the description box down below. It is on the same topic with a few more ideas for beginners to make as well. And as normal with these crochet or craft idea videos, all the ideas that I found are from Pinterest, and some of them are even from my own website and whatnot. So wherever I found the ideas, they will be linked down below in the order that I'm talking about them. And there'll be links for products you can use to make these projects as well down below. Now, before we get started with the ideas, I'm going to move over here. That way I can insert pictures right here of what I'm talking about. Now with all of that, let's get started with the ideas for beginner crocheters. Okay, so my first idea for you guys is going to be keychains. And when I was first starting out crocheting, I loved to make keychains because they were super quick projects. And also, especially like me, I was trying to start my Etsy shop, so they were great little things I could make to keep on my keychain. And when I'm out in public, people would see it and ask me about it and stuff like that. So it was also a great way to advertise myself a little bit. So I think they're great, especially for Christmas time if you want to make little stocking stuffers for your family or friends as well. I think keychains make great gifts. There's all types of different ones. There's like ice cream cones and donuts and little small animals you can make as keychains and stuff like that. But again, just any type of keychain is a really fun project, and you can easily get chains and stuff like that from Michael's or even Walmart to make the keychain part of it. So the next idea is stuffed animals, which this is kind of broad, of course, but there's many different ones, and there's also a lot that are more complicated than others. So of course, for beginners, you want to look out for patterns that say beginner, or even if you can find patterns that are made into YouTube tutorials, that's really helpful as well. Because again, at least for me, it was really helpful because I'm very much a visual learner. So if I can see the person doing the stitches and stuff, I can pretty much get the hang of it after a while. But if it was just me on my own without being able to see anyone, I would have never understood anything at all. So again, you want to look out for stuff that says beginner, but there's cute like farm animals and like giraffes and elephants and pigs and like so many different things. You can make so many different patterns. I will link a few down below, but there's just so many different ideas. So get creative with it, and especially if you have a favorite animal or whatever, make yourself a little mini version to put on your bed or on your desk. But basically any type of stuffed animal is a really good idea. Obviously you don't want to make them too big. Most of the patterns will have the dimensions of the final size of the project. So again, as a beginner, you pretty much don't want to make something that's too big. Of course, that's up to you. But when I was starting out, if I ever started a project that was too big, I would never finish it because I would just get frustrated at some point that it was taking so long, or I didn't understand something, or whatever the case was. If it was a big project, I would never really finish it. So one of my next ideas, and this is actually what I made my first actual tutorial on, is pillowcases. And I made two pillowcase videos, the one for the American flag pillowcase and the one for the just basic pillowcase that you can make in whatever colors. But pillowcases were something that I really liked to make when I was first starting out because first off, they're not too difficult. Most of them are pretty much your basic stitches like single crochet and double crochet. And then also it's a really nice decor piece to have. So if you have a throw pillow that's like 12 by 20 inches or whatever, you can make a pillowcase to fit that, and you can change it out for different holidays or like spring or Easter, all that stuff. So I really like doing that, and as you guys saw in the American flag one, that one I actually gave to my dad for Father's Day because my parents' bedroom is American flag themed. so like it matches their whole bedding and all the stuff they have going on in their room. But even if their bedroom wasn't that theme, I would have still made it and put it like in my room or on the couch or something when it's like the 4th of July and stuff like that. But there's so many different patterns you can choose from. There's even like egg-shaped ones and like different things you can experiment with. But they were one of my favorite things to make because they're so versatile, but also it's just really good practice as well because it's kind of straightforward. Another thing that's sort of similar is blankets, and again, there's so many different ones. Some are of course a lot more complicated than others, so I would suggest ones that definitely say beginner in the pattern. But blankets can be a super fun thing to make, especially if you're a beginner, because they can be super easy and straightforward, and a lot of times you don't have to switch colors, or you don't have to increase or decrease or do a magic circle or anything like that, which if you're a beginner you're probably like, oh, that sounds super complicated, which it can be starting out. So if you start out with a blanket, pretty much all it takes is a chain to start out for most of them. So it would be super easy to do something like that as well. And you know, of course you don't want to overwhelm yourself, because I think a lot of people try crocheting and then they start out with something that's too difficult and then they're like, I don't understand how people do this, I don't want to do this again, I don't have time for this, I can't do it, whatever the case is. And I was almost that same way too, because I started out with trying to make one of those star blankets and it was super confusing with having to do chains and double crochets and everything like that. So then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna make just a regular blanket that's only single crochets, and I was able to do that. And then from there I was perfectly fine and I was confident in my skills because I learned a lot from making that first blanket. So again, that's something super easy you can make as a first project, and also it's just really fun as well. But the one thing I will say about blankets is they do take a long time to make. So if you're one of those people that's going to get discouraged from something taking too long, it may not be the best first project for you. But if you're fine with it taking a while and working on it for like an hour or so every day, then it might be the perfect project for you. You just have to try it to see, basically. Another great idea for beginners is dishcloths, or like washcloths, whatever you call them, but they're pretty much similar to blankets. They're kind of just like a miniature version for a lot of the patterns. So it would be something that you can make that's pretty much straightforward. Again, doesn't require any magic circles or anything like that, and they're all pretty easy as well, and they're pretty quick to work up. So that is a really good first project as well. So I actually panned my camera a little bit over here because this was actually my first crochet project that my grandma helped me with, and it's literally just a chain of green and then some flowers here. So that's also a really cute idea, and if I can find a pattern similar to that, I'll link it down below for you guys. But fun fact, that was my first crochet project when I was like 8, but I never picked up crocheting until I was 16, and then that's when I finally picked it up and continued to do it. But I did make this with a lot of help from my grandma at the time. So other things you can make, I wouldn't suggest clothing as far as like a shirt or pants, because those are very measurement heavy, so you'd have to measure yourself and do stitches based off of your measurements or whoever you're making the clothing item for. So that can be a little bit difficult, but something you can make is scarves, which are pretty much straightforward as well. And I really liked doing that as well, especially when I use the pattern on the yarn that I bought. Actually, if it has a scarf pattern, a lot of times the patterns on the yarn you buy are super easy. So again, if you're looking for another easy pattern idea, those are super great. But I did one not too long ago that's actually for sale on my Etsy shop that was basically just half double crochets the whole entire way through, and then you just cut little pieces of yarn to make tassels, and that was it. Super easy. That's something that's just really straightforward as well, so it wouldn't be too challenging to start out with. Now, if you are a little bit more of a upper level beginner is what I would call it, you could do stuff that requires a magic circle, and sometimes there's options to chain instead of doing a magic circle. But for me personally, I normally do magic circles, but it was a really long time for me to get used to doing magic circles because they are kind of complicated to do. But if you are a little bit more of an upper level beginner, some things with magic circles that you can make are coasters or hats. And now hats are kind of measurement heavy too, but if you're using a pattern that's like, it tells you how many stitches based off of like a small, medium, or large, you can measure your head and figure out, okay, my head is a size medium based off of their measurements, so I need to make mine based off of the amount of stitches for a medium, that sort of thing. But if it's one that's saying do this many stitches until this amount of length, that might be a little bit more difficult for a beginner. But of course, you won't really know if you can do something until you try it, so don't classify yourself as a beginner for your whole entire time of crocheting and then you look at a pattern that says intermediate and you're like, I could have done that this whole time. You know, you do have to try things to know if you're capable of doing it, basically. But I just recommend starting out with beginner patterns because they are made to be easier and made to be read by beginners. Also, the stuffed animals I mentioned earlier, a lot of them will require a magic circle for like the heads and things if it's a circle. But again, if that's something you're not comfortable with doing, of course, just try one of the other projects first and then work your way up into doing stuffed animals. I did want to mention that literally every single YouTube tutorial I watched on how to do a magic circle did not explain one key important thing that I figured out like a year into crocheting. Because every time I would do a magic circle, like half the time it would work and half the time it wouldn't. And there's one specific detail that every tutorial left out on one specific thing, and I'm not going to say it because I can make a tutorial on how to do a magic circle. If you guys are interested, please let me know down below or like the video or whatever. But yeah, if you guys are struggling with how to do a magic circle, I could make a tutorial on that, or it'll probably be something that's really short, so I could even put it on my Instagram or something if you guys are interested. But yeah, I would love to share my little hack for that if you guys are struggling with being able to do that, because I've even heard of some people that have crocheted for years and never been able to do a magic circle, and it took me like a whole year to figure out exactly what to do to get it right every time, because there's half the time I was doing it and it was right, and half the time I was doing it and it wouldn't work, and it was so frustrating. So anyway, that's off topic, but if you guys want to see that, please do let me know. Message me on Instagram, comment on my Instagram post, comment down below here, do something to let me know that you want to see it. So also, to kind of go along with stuffed animals, there's like video game characters and movie characters and cartoon characters and whatever. There's so many different ideas for crochet things. Like I've even made Deadpool and I've made the Hulk as well. So both of those are superheroes from movies. And again, there's just so many different ideas for different things you can make. So once you start to get the hang of things, look into your options. And of course, Pinterest is a great thing because you can save your ideas for later. If you come across something right now but you're in the middle of like 10 different projects like I always am, then you can save that project for when you're looking for something to do next time. Okay guys, that's all of my ideas I've come up with for crochet projects for beginners. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you like me and my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe down below and turn on the post notifications, that way you know every time I upload a new video. Also, if you guys would like to check out the Pinterest ideas that I showed in this video, the products that you might want to use to make some of these items, my social medias, my Etsy shop, my blog post that goes along with this video, and more of my videos, make sure you guys use the links in the description box down below to check all of those things out. And with all of that, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!